Married Sisters Talk Show. I am your host, Becca Wilson. This show was created to deal with topics and issues that women are facing today. Whether you are married, single, widowed, or divorced, this show is for every sister. Please be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and every Tuesday on our Married Sisters YouTube channel at 12 noon. If you like our show, please subscribe, like, and share.
We are sisters, married sisters, living our best lives, being blessed wives with our misters. We are sisters, we are married sisters.
So we all got together for a couple's dinner, and one of the questions during the couple's dinner is probably about 8 couples. We went out to have dinner, and we had asked the question, how did you meet your spouse? And so I want to ask LaDonna that. She wasn't part of our couple's outing, but I do want to ask her, how did she meet her spouse, Jonas?
Oh, my Jonas. Well, we actually met on the campus of Wilberforce University. Go Bulldogs and Wilberforce University, and Wilberforce, Ohio, excuse me. We actually had a class together, which was medical terminology, and my roommate happened to be in the class as well. They both needed that class for their major. I did not, and it didn't take me long at all to realize I needed to get out of there because it was going to make my GPA drop. The class was hard, so I got out of there quick. But I didn't know I had an admirer. He just used to sit, quietly. He just sat very serious, and he was just very observant. And so after I had dropped the class, my roommate came back to our room one day and was like, hey, Jonas, the guy in class, whatever, he wanted me to give you his phone number. And I said, well, why did he give it to me? Why? He too good to give it to me? So she's like, no, he's just real quiet and laid back or whatever, because he didn't actually stay on campus. He lived in Dayton, so he commuted. So I didn't see him a lot, hanging around on campus like everybody else. So I ended up calling him or whatnot, and we went out on a few dates, and I remember the first night we went out, we just talked and talked and talked and talked. We just got along so well. And then, I was a poor college student, and a couple of times he was so nice and gracious, and he even bought me some food. And I could just tell from then that he was a very nurturing person who would take care of me. And it took me, a little bit of time to figure that out. But I'm so glad I did. He's a great man, and we've been together 24 years now.
All right, Jonas. And so this is how that question came up, is talking about how we met our spouses. And so I wouldn't have known these stories unless I had these type of couple outings and gatherings and things. So I'm gonna have LaToya, I want LaToya to tell her story, how she met her husband.
Well, it's not quite as juicy.
I didn't think mine was.
No, actually, I'll just do a little bit of background. So before I met Mike, I was in college. I was a college student, and one night I had a dream. And in this dream, the Lord literally showed me, it was kind of like the Disney version of A Christmas Carol, and I was cast as Ebenezer Scrooge in this dream. He essentially showed me my life, because I was partying and doing all the stuff that campus life, provides for you. And he was like, so this is your life if you continue upon this path. And in the vision that I saw of myself in this dream, my character had completely changed. I was kind of like a wandering vagabond, begging in a sense in this dream. And then he showed me myself with him. And an essential part of that dream was that I had a family and I had children. And he led me to a verse. It was actually Proverbs 3:13. And he said, which the verse says, when I woke up, I just rummaged through a tub to find this little green Bible that a campus preacher had given me, and the verse, Proverbs 3:13 says, happy is the man that findeth wisdom and getteth understanding. So I had that, and then immediately went to a Christian bookstore, ran into a lady that happened to just open a church, and she said, and she invited me. The next day I was in that church, and I never left. Few months later, in walks this young gentleman. I didn't know at the time that was going to be my husband, but he, would try to make introductions to me, and I was just not interested at all. I was really there focusing on just reconfirming and affirming my relationship with the Lord, and they kept on telling me about him, but I was just like, I'm not interested. And then I happened to be ushering at his aunt's funeral. And during the repast of all times, he decides this is his time. This is the time that he's gonna make his move.
I gotta make my move.
And the room is filled with, we're cleaning because the repast is over. We serve the family. We're putting tables away. I'm literally breaking down tables, throwing bags of trash over my shoulder to carry out to the dumpster. And then here he comes to approach me, and I'm like, dude, this is the wrong way. You've seen me breaking tables down, throwing out trash. I mean, why wait? Why not get involved? So kind of shut him down real quick. But he stayed around. He stayed for about 3 or 4 hours just waiting. Got my phone number. 3 dates later, I knew that he was the man that I was going to marry. And to make it even more interesting, he would tell me as a little boy what he prayed for. He would go up and ask for prayer, and his request was for wisdom. And so the scripture was, happy is the man that findeth wisdom and getteth understanding, that I received in my dream. And I must say that my husband is the wisest man that I know, and I'm so thankful that we have been married for 17 years. So it's my story.
That's awesome. But you know what? I've learned something out of both of you guys here. Okay, so check this out, single ladies. This one was busy working. And her husband discovered her, is what I'm understanding. She wasn't out on, wasn't looking, but busy working, trying to improve yourself. This one was unaware that she walked into meeting her king, just busy getting herself together, going to school. I mean, it's like neither one of y'all was thinking about it, right? Yeah. And it just happens. I believe that's the way it happens. Yeah. To me, I mean, that's what it's kind of sound like. Like, okay, so I'm not out looking for him, because if you're looking, you normally tend to get all kind of stuff, run into all kind of things because you're out there looking. But these ladies here, I mean, I'm loving the story. Just working, busy working, observed by her husband, and y'all married 17 years. That's so awesome. 17 years. Okay. And then you're 24. Okay. That's awesome. Now, I love this. I absolutely love this story right here, Sister Young Marche. Now, if you're talking about a lack of confidence, my sister here with her story had no lack of confidence. The sister girl had some serious boldness, but I love the story. Go ahead, share your story, Sister Marche, of how you met your husband.
The build-up is real. So I'm gonna comment on 2 things you said. First of all, the confidence. I'm from the South. I was raised in Houston, Texas. So it's typically a swag people that are from Houston have about themselves. So that I think that attributes to the confidence, perhaps. And anyway. The second thing, I love that you said, these sisters were not in pursuit. So prior to humbling myself and deciding, okay, God, I know it's time to start preparing myself for marriage, I was no longer looking for anybody. In fact, I was dodging people left and right because I wasn't interested. I was so focused on just becoming my best self and preparing myself for marriage because I had discovered that I was worthy of being somebody's queen. And I was preparing myself to get to that level, and I wasn't going to accept anybody that was not going to meet me there. So I was also uninterested. So the story of how we met. I'll paint a picture. So it was one night, I was hanging with my girls, one of my best friends, my girl City. So we were chilling. She had some people come in town from IU, so they were visiting. She played basketball for IU, so they came in town. And if you're coming in town from IU to Indianapolis, then you probably want to party. I don't like to party. I'd rather just watch TV, chill, and relax. So the City. So these girls were so adamant on just getting out and partying, and so I was trying to sleep. So I pretended that I was asleep. So this City, but these girls came to party. So we ended up leaving to go party. These girls wanted to go to Briar Ripple. So we head to Briar Ripple, unwilling, uninterested, not trying to be there, thinking it'll be quick, we'll be in and out, right? So we're there. And so the first place we go is Kilroy's. So the build-up is interesting. So we're crossing the street to go from this side of the street to the other side of the street to get to Kilroy's. And if y'all aren't familiar with Kilroy's, it's a bar in Broad Ripple. And I like Kilroy's a lot, especially because who I met. So I walk across the street, and so I see this dude with like this tight Kilroy shirt. I'm like, all right, looking at his muscles, like, okay, he's looking pretty cute. Had a nice little haircut. I like his height. It fit what I would look for if I were looking. I wasn't looking, but I saw him. And he saw me too. So I'm approaching him because he was standing at the door, and I'm giving him my ID. And I'm just like, so my name is spelled March like the month with 2 E's on the end, Marche. People never get it right. So I give this dude my ID, and I said, I bet you can't say my name right. He's like, yes, I can, Marche. And I'm like, God, is that you? This never happens. And so even with that exchange, I just felt a pull. And we just had a simple conversation. He said my name right, and we continued to just talk. So I'm like, okay, now you piqued my interest. Now I'm interested. I'm feeling confident. I'm with my girls. I'm chilling. And so we just continued to just have a conversation, and just something in him was just different than anything I had ever felt before. It was just like some kind of pull. I'm just like, who is this dude? And in that moment, I just felt like this dude is gonna be my husband. And so we exchanged numbers, but we were there to party, so I wasn't there to just talk to this dude. So we passed him up, and I said, you know what, I'll be back. So we hung out at a couple different other clubs there, and then I came back, and he and I were talking again. And I had never did this before. This is the part she likes. So I've never kissed like a random person before. My mama did not raise me like that. Yvette would have probably been disappointed, but it's her son-in-law now. But I just felt like the urge to kiss this dude. Like I just felt drawn to this dude. It was so weird. So this dude is at work. I'm chilling. He's working. And so we ended up just like making out there. That was so weird. And then a couple weeks later, we went on our first date. And then the rest is history. We've been together for 6 years. We've been married for 5 and have a little baby who'll be 4. So shout out to you, Joshua.
That is so awesome. And what's funny, today Marche's father is here at the studio. So she telling the story. He's raising up. He raising up looking like, well, Lord, what's going on here?
Notice I wasn't even looking at him either. She's like, I don't even want to look.
His whole demeanor is changing over there.
Like, what did my daughter do? Like, it was just a
Like,
kiss.
Lord, how far is this story about to go? That was a holy kiss, because that was the holy match on the kiss. But I just love the story, you know. But that was confidence, like you said, and that pull. Now, I don't recommend that unless you have the pull and know and ready.
Or unless you know, because he knew what it was. He was giving me those eyes, and I knew what it was.
You're right. Because sometimes men just know what they want, because after we went out a couple of times, my husband told me I didn't even realize, I used to watch you. There's this window that's on one of the main hallways of our classrooms. He said, I used to just sit there and watch you. You'd have your hair put back with that red lipstick. I just thought you were so beautiful. I'm like, you even knew what color lipstick I had on?
Yeah. They pay attention.
They do detail when it's something that they want.
Something.
Yes.
Saying something.
So we know. We have that innate ability to know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he knew.
Yeah. Mine's a long story. You literally need a cup of tea and sit down and talk about it. But Derek was my first love, and the Lord brought us back, so we don't have that type of exchange, but I just love those stories. So.
Isn't it just nice just to be in love?
Yeah.
I love my husband. It's just
love.
Yes.
I mean, because love, I keep saying it's supernatural. Because it causes you to change. And it's like you want to change. You want to be better. And be better, a spouse, a person, or whatever. I mean, love does a work on you. You're not the same.
And especially if the husband is truly in the husbandry position, in the way that the father is towards us. When it's out pictured in the scripture, it's pictured as a garden being tended to. And I can't quite quote or see where that scripture is, but there's a tending and a pruning. And, I think about the relationship with my husband, and I grew up just from a troubled background. So I came to the relationship with all this baggage, and he's more the Huxtable, he has more the Huxtable type of background, so we had some work to do. But his love for me has been so pure that he has developed me through love in the 17 years that we've been married, never pushing away, never shying away from the challenges and the ugliness in me that would come out, because it was coming out at times. But there was like, he could see the diamond, through all of the ugliness. He could see, where we would be today. And he's just walked me through so many just challenging things and never gave up. And, I'm so thankful. I am so thankful for a good man, that works hard for his family and provides, and not worrying at night where he is, or not worried if he's on Facebook.
Getting some crazy DMs and sending crazy DMs.
Well, I'm not, and it's just a blessing. And I know that I was looking into some statistics about marriage, and what they're finding is people are postponing marriage. The marriage rates are going down because more of the millennial generation, they want to travel, they want to explore the world or pursue a career. So marriage is not being coveted in the way that it was in the past. And so I think those of us that are married and have those relationships, where you're still in love with the person that you've been with for 17 years or 24 years or whatever have you, we've got to tout that so that these young people can see that marriage is a beautiful thing. It's ordained by God, and it's a beautiful covenant to be, to have in your life.
Wow, it is. It's like the ultimate covenant here on earth that will put you as close to the relationship with God. And marriage is beautiful. And the fact that you were saying, because the ugliness comes out, but the willing to yield, stay together and work. At the end of the day, we are a team. And when you look back through that, you're not that same person. You're not the same. You're constantly evolving and changing, and your love is like growing stronger and stronger, but you got to yield to that. That's the submission to one another. That is so beautiful.
And to know that you love each other enough that you want to fight to be together, no matter what. Yeah. Because there's nothing out in the streets. It's nothing.
For real, it's just loneliness. And I feel like I love that you said that. One thing that we have to do, like what we're talking about, we talked about the beauty of marriage, but I love that you said, he stuck with you through the ugliness. Because I think something that draws like young people, I'm in the young people category my last year in my 20s, 29. And so I speak, to my younger crowd, encouraging them to seek the marriage ministry. However, teaching them that marriage is for better or for worse, to death do us part. So that for worse part, we don't talk about. And so as married women, we have to be mindful of that. We can't just talk about, it's just, but what about when it's not that? Right. Or what about when you don't like him? Or what about when you're mad at him? Or what about when you don't want to talk to him? Or what about when y'all are growing through things together separately, though? Individual things. And so it's a must we just talk about those things. So that, younger people or just people in general don't feel like, well, their marriage is so perfect, so, they won't understand my problems, or they have this beautiful marriage, and so they probably don't go through anything. And so we definitely have to just be careful, as married women to just, tell people that it does get hard sometimes. Yes. But what we do, though, as married women is make the decision that just because I don't like you today, I love you forever. Right. Like, I love you always, and I'm not taking this thing off because I'm mad at you. So I'm going to sleep right next to you as you grow through that, and as I grow through what you're growing through, because we're growing together. So what, your spouse or you may have a struggle. We in this thing for better or worse. So if this is the worst, then we in this worst together. Like, I'm with you, whether that's in silence or separation in the house, because you're not going anywhere, and neither am I. So I'm just going to go sleep, and you're going to get in this bed. Right. But, just making sure that people out there don't have this fairy tale view of, it's going to be so beautiful, because when it gets ugly, they're ready to leave. And that's why so many people that are younger are like, I'm not interested in that, because I seen my mom and them be in a situationship and nobody liked each other. Or I seen my auntie be in a whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like we just have to continue to just encourage them to be married, but talk about the real stuff and be vocal, and so that we don't make people feel alone and make them feel bad that they struggle, because you're going to struggle, okay? If you stay married long enough, and I've only been married for 6 years, but the struggle is so worth it, and you just keep pushing through, persist in well-doing, because when you don't give up, you're going to reap the benefit.
That's so true.
So we have to, just talk about that. So that's my piece.
I love it. Marriage, like I said, marriage is beautiful. Marriage is work. You're signing up to work. And like she was saying, you just can't throw in the towel over one situation. You can't throw in the towel if something is broken, but just working through it, and I think it's beautiful. Hi again, this is Becca Wilson. I truly hope you have enjoyed our show today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time, you be blessed and have a great day.